What? Did we just become best friends? Yeah!
One is a t-shirt queen, and the other is an SEO and web developing ninja. And both of these squirrels are a little nuts. You're now listening to the More Gooder Ideas podcast, a show for the small business hustlers worldwide, encouraging you to be your most authentic self. This is the place where your whole story matters. Come for the tips and stay for the fun. Now, your hosts, Angie Patterson and Jay Smith.
Record. Start recording. So our theme this week, though, and I'm going to, another disclaimer. The title of this episode is going to be Harness the Hate, Lessons from the Sith. And the disclaimer is, if you came here hoping for an episode about the Sith, or for somebody who has deep knowledge of the Sith, or for opportunities to say, aha, no, the Sith are like this, you're welcome to fuck right off. Because I'm not that. I mean, I grew up, I'm OG Star Wars guy. I had all the toys. I'm a 1973 kid. You know, for my 8th birthday, I got the AT-AT, and it was the best day of my entire life. Wow. The one that walks and had the gun. Oh my God. Everybody could just go home. Bye. I don't care if anybody's here.
Wrong place, wrong time.
Move along. And if you're going to fill my comments with just don't, because I may even just enrage you for fun.
I mean, we'll take any kind of comments we can get, because we're trying to get...
That's a good point. I meant to text you. I'm sorry, totally derailing. Some of the comments we've started actually getting some real engagement
on YouTube.
Yeah, on our YouTube shorts, people are actually like this stuff about dreams and the stuff about network. People are actually writing out long stuff and actually like really being engaged with the content. And it's like, God, thank you. Yeah. But no, there have been some really good comments lately, and it's not like a lot, but we did pass 65,000 total views this week, and I posted that on LinkedIn and got a lot of engagement there.
Thank you, guys. Yeah. I mean, I think, anybody who spends as much time doing a hobby as we are doing this, I think you hope that we hope it becomes something bigger. Mm-hmm. Maybe we can monetize it one day. But the real reward right now is just that somebody is getting any kind of value whatsoever out of what we're doing every week. So
my real value is watching myself talk on video over and over again. It's very satisfying.
The secondary value would be that somebody else enjoys watching us talk on video.
Sure.
Or is getting something out of it,
Yeah.
So that makes me really happy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And because I have just kind of started dipping my toe and putting it on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is a totally different flavor than Instagram and Facebook. It's a different crowd. They're there for different reasons, but because I have started just kind of putting stuff out there, I'm starting to get outreach from people who are interested in being on the podcast. I have found a challenge in some of the business owners I've talked to who have phenomenal stories. I'm just like, I trumpet them every chance I get because they're so unique, and they're just like, I don't want to talk. I can't be on camera. I can't do that. Like, man.
But you could.
Yes. But, it's to each their own. But, anybody who's watched our first 16, 17 episodes knows you gotta be good at this. You
might be better than you think.
You can just show up, open your mouth, and start blabbing bullshit, and
Jay does his little magic thing he does where it makes it look like you have a coherent thought, even if you had absolutely zero coherent thoughts the whole time.
Bringing it all back around.
Yes.
The Bachelor of bullshit. Not Bachelor, that's dumb. Baron of bullshit.
Ooh.
Sirloin of beef. I'm sorry. So this is me being a kid in the 70s again, growing up on Looney Tunes, which blows my mind is not aired constantly.
Oh no.
Because it's still comedy gold.
Oh yeah.
And because that was my Saturday morning every day for over a decade, or every Saturday, like if we're in Costco or Kroger and I see sirloin of beef, or somebody mentions a piano and have you got a piano? And nobody knows what the fuck I'm talking about.
Because you're old.
Because I'm old and you didn't grow up on Looney Tunes, and go away. And it's bedtime. So I need a nap.
back hurts.
Why is it so cold in here? Why is it so hot in here? Okay, let's just set Star Wars aside because it's not what we're talking about.
I don't want to talk about Star
We're
Wars.
not talking about Star. We will not talk about Star Wars.
Okay.
The title was "Harness Your Hate: Lessons from the Sith," and that's because
we are the Sith.
no, we're not. We're not that good.
Okay.
Because they like one of the things is they're always in pairs, right? Yeah, and the way you ascend to power is killing your master.
Which one of us is the master?
Awkward. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious.
Susan?
Yes. Okay. Anywho, the point that we were going to get around to is how to deal with negativity, hate, negative comments, bad reviews, basically negativity coming from the outside into your business, whether that's clients, whether that's social media. So that's where you and I kind of diverge. Even though my business could suffer from some negative stuff on social media, I don't really sell on social media, so it's not as big a deal, whereas you, I think, would be a much bigger deal.
That's my biggest fear. Like someone coming after me on social media. Yeah, because so much of, like we were talking about referrals, when a lot of times a referral comes in the form of like a share of a Facebook page or an Instagram page. And so I'm always worried, not even necessarily about like a bad review on my social media, but just how are they going to perceive it when they see it?
Okay.
Whether it be comments, whatever.
Have you experienced anything negative yet?
Not really.
Okay.
I've had a couple, I'm not going to call them customers because they didn't buy anything. But people who maybe, wanted to order something that I couldn't provide or something like that.
Fuck you, man.
Yeah, but then but it was to me. They didn't go after like my business specific. They didn't go and leave a nasty review or put something on their page to tell everybody to bash me or anything like that. So in that way I was kind of lucky. They were upset and that's their prerogative, but they didn't go out of their way to try and like hurt me because of that.
Okay.
But it lurks in the back of my mind all the time of like, I try to provide really excellent customer service, but that you can give the best customer service every single time and you still could experience a hater.
Sure.
As we will talk about today. So I don't want to say that like my customer service is perfect and that's why I haven't had to deal with it yet. I think I've just been really lucky.
It's just a matter of scale.
Yeah. And I've sacrificed profit or time in certain instances where I felt like that could be a problem to kind of make that customer happy so it wouldn't be a problem. But again, that's not always going to stop it from happening.
Right.
So I'm just as curious to see what kind of tips and tricks we come up with today.
Yeah. So one thing I would say if I were advising you along those lines, and I thought a lot about Caitlin on this one, just because she leans very heavily into her niche, and she does it unapologetically. And I do not know because I haven't looked, but I have to imagine she's dealt with some hater.
I mean, I know Instagram shut her page down.
Yeah, but I have to imagine comments.
Oh yeah,
like Instagram shutting your page down. That happens, and sometimes it happens. You have no idea.
Absolutely
why.
No reason.
Yeah, because one of my business partners, Amy, who owns Director of Marketing Inc., she specializes in social media marketing and your Google and your Facebook and all that stuff. And she regularly deals with clients who are in Facebook jail, but for no discernible reason.
Right.
And it could be somebody reported your page; they're not going to tell you, or it could be the algorithm mistook for what you sell or what you said for medical advice or something like that.
Yeah, or a threat.
Right. So yeah, so that. It's especially if you have no attribution for who said what or why it was determined. It's kind of like just, get with a specialist and have them fix it. Point I want to make is, not maybe censoring what you say or not putting 100% of it out there trying to play it a little safe in those things, I think it's more of a detriment to a business owner than a benefit.
Thank you.
It is.
Because as we always say, your tribe is going to find you.
Yep.
And a lot of times, sorry, I'm hijacking your comment here. One of my mentors in the t-shirt world, she has a very large social media following. And she is, in my eyes, not provocative in any way. But she kind of specializes in sarcastic, inappropriate. And her customer is somebody like me, mostly female, who has kind of like a dirty sense of humor or like sarcastic things and stuff like that. And she'll get like a elderly married man who comments and is offended by the shirt design she did. And it's like, but that's not her customer.
Right.
So does it really matter? Because the people who like what she's doing, they love that stuff and they don't find it to be offensive or inappropriate. They
so
find
if you're
it to
going
be funny.
if you're going to play in the middle, then you're competing with Under Armour, Nike, people who make stuff for the masses that is not unique. It's not a specific feeling or a specific niche. And unless you have the volume and the advertising to compete with people who are selling to everybody, you should focus on what is your specific, unique voice, because nobody is just going on Facebook hoping to find somebody who sells blank t-shirts.
If you can buy it at Target,
Right.
if you can buy it at Nike, why would they buy it from you?
Right. And I think you actually, if you are able not to say court haters, because it'd be very easy to court haters if you want to just say some off the wall shit that would piss off half the people. But put out everything you are and everything that your business is, like Women Own Wallet does. And for those people who it's not for, if they leave a snarky comment, okay. I can't remember who said it. I've seen it in different versions from many people. Nobody hates on you who's doing better than you.
Yeah.
People who take shots at you on your YouTube or on your Instagram or your Facebook, Joe Rogan is not coming after our podcast. Like, nobody who's doing better than us has time or the inclination to punch down.
Yeah.
So people who are taking shots at you, it's because they see something in you that makes them feel less than.
But there is a finesse that you have to take when looking at those kind of things of, is this a hater? Or is this your ideal customer who is unhappy with the service or the product you've provided, or maybe feels like you've misrepresented yourself? Because you need to tread that situation a little differently than you're going to tread Joe Blow, who, hasn't posted one video and comments on your podcast, you suck.
Still going after that guy.
I'll never forget that guy. Like, that guy that guy is not, helping us monetize our videos. That guy is not paying for a website. He's not buying a t-shirt, and he's not listening on Spotify every week. So we don't really care what that guy thinks.
Right.
If Cassidy was like, dude, this episode blows.
Right.
Then we're not going to be like, no, it doesn't, Cassidy, you blow. Like, we would be like, dang, where did we miss the mark? Because Cassidy is our ideal listener.
Right.
So there is something to be said about, maybe taking a step back when you get negative feedback and being able to evaluate, and just like kind of the other side of the pendulum too, that you don't take the haters and let it really drag you down or take it personally.
Yeah, so I think that's getting us into the realm of Google reviews and Yelp reviews. So actually written reviews from your users, from your clients.
The only people that are going to leave reviews are people that you give an outstanding experience to, or people that are pissed.
Oh yeah, there's very few 3-star reviews.
Nobody's
5 or 1.
Nobody's going to go in there and be like, it was great, we had a nice time.
Well,
they either have to have a really great experience, or their experience blows.
Yeah,
or
and that's another struggle that comes up when someone leaves what reads like a positive review and then 3 stars. You're like, what the fuck?
Sometimes that's a fluke. Sometimes they mean
they
five stars.
They also grew up in a household where, perfection was unattainable. or they're a math teacher who never gives an A kind of shit.
You're making so many assumptions. That brings up a really good point, and this may be like jumping to the catch line, but like, if you do get negative feedback and it is legitimate, you know, you could always ask like what you could do better or if you can make it right. But specifically with like product based, I'm thinking like Etsy, Google reviews. A lot of times it legitimately is an accident. Like they're saying all those nice things because they meant to give you 5 stars and they accidentally clicked
Right.
1. And it's okay to just ask them if they'll give you more stars.
Sure. Well, of course it is. So I deal with clients who often, you know, they're freaking out because they got a bad review. And some people in digital marketing, the tactic is to try and bury it with, you know, we got to get you a whole ton of more good reviews or fake reviews, which is a big no-no and is actually illegal now. Yeah.
Illegal?
Yeah. You can, it is. I don't know how they're going to enforce it.
Serve like 90 days. Is it like defamation kind of?
No. Well,
but like the opposite?
No, it came out because of basically fake Amazon reviews. So it's driving consumer behavior. And there are companies out there who will post thousands of 5-star reviews in order to push something up in the algorithm. And Congress is like, that's illegal. You know, you're basically lying to consumers and you're paying someone to do it on your behalf.
Yeah.
So I can't remember the name of the company. There's a big company out there and that's what they do. And they're like, poof.
Dang.
Which, yeah, I mean, but so for service businesses, which is primarily what I work with, you know, there's best practices for getting a poor review is to respond kindly, ask, please contact us so we can make this right. Don't fight, argue, insult. None of that is going to serve you in the end. I do know a story of some restaurant up in the Northeast, and I think they're still getting away with this, but whenever someone posts a negative review, they post a response that's guaranteed to get taken down by Google because it says, we're sorry we kicked you out because you started screaming the N-word or something.
Oh my God.
Right. You know, but it has worked.
It worked. I mean, again, that's why you really have to take a step back when you're looking at these kind of things and evaluate how you want to respond.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, I mean, I look at review, let's say Amazon. I'm going to look at the reviews. I'm going to look and see if there's pictures and what they say. And that can have a big sway.
Sure.
But it's not going to end all be all of your business. I
look at negative reviews and I read them. And I read them to see how they respond. Or what, you know, it legitimately happened. I have advised people to do some pretty wild things in order to overcome that. So much so, like, you know, all of your techs need to go out wearing 3 stars on their shirts so that people ask them about it and they can talk to them about how we've done all this training to get our reviews up and all that. And we would really love it. And you're wearing the stars. And it gets them more reviews and it gets them more good reviews because people do want to support you if you do a good job.
Yeah.
But you know, hiring a lawyer. Now, I will say this though, leaving a fake review to try and attack another business can get you in court.
And you absolutely should never, ever do that.
But
just as not that we're like the moral hierarchy
but
here, but
putting something in print that is provably untrue and it damages someone else's business.
It's called defamation.
Right. That is a great way to end yourself up in court and lose.
Well, and let's just talk about empathy for a little while because we talk about empathy a lot as small business owners. You know, if you're even as small business owners, we are consumers for other businesses. And at least for me personally, Jay, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Like, there's a line between that wasn't the best experience and, like, I need to leave a review.
Sure.
I mean, the only times I've ever really left a negative review is if I didn't know any other way to address it. And I felt like the people in charge needed to know. It wasn't really even necessarily about the public knowing. It's a little bit different when you're, again, shopping on Amazon or something. Like, those people don't care.
Right.
But when you're talking about a business, especially a small business, where it's like you can see the face of that person who's going to be directly affected by that.
Right.
I don't know where I was going. I mean, I guess my thing is do you need to leave a bad review or could you reach out to that person and talk to them?
Well, yeah.
A lot of times with a small business, if you reach out to them, they may even fix what the
Yeah,
issue
they'll make it right.
was.
In many
you know?
cases, they'll make it right. And when they tell you to go F yourself, then it's like, okay, then I've got my voice and I'm going to use it. And
Yeah.
I have brought that up. It's like, because a business say, well, look, this is the way it is. We don't have to do anything about this. Like, you're absolutely right. You don't. But I've got what's within my power too, which is my voice.
Yeah, and especially if you feel like it is something that, maybe is not aligning with how that business is trying to be perceived or the image that they're putting out there.
Now, I had a client this year who we were never aligned on the project outcomes. Did not understand how web design worked. Was not an ideal client for me, and I probably shouldn't have taken it in retrospect. But continued wanting constant rework, and finally had to just end it. And contractually, there was nothing wrong with the way I ended it. Matter of fact, I went way above and beyond the pale, and then sent me an email, essentially, threatening me, saying they had talked to an attorney, and
Okay.
right, they were going to, take me to court and sue me. Oh, also for damages. I'm like, okay, you didn't talk to an attorney because you don't understand what damages mean, but cool. And then in the same email proceeded to offer me a glowing Google review if I would just refund them all their money, which they absolutely did not have coming to them. And I was like, we're done here. Like, you have shown me what kind of person you are and how you operate, and I'm not going to cow to your bully behavior, essentially. And if you leave me a poor review, do so. Do it. And then I will respond in kind and very respectfully, very positively, but it's not going to be, call the office so we can work this out, and I'm not going to try and get you to fix your review. It's going to be, this is exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Because I want people who read that negative review to understand.
And you also want people like that person to not patronize your business.
That too. That's absolutely true. And I think we've talked about this a little bit. When you're brand new, you take every job you have to survive. But it's kind of a really nice milestone as a small business owner is when you can start turning down projects that don't fit they're not the right fit.
It feels so good.
It does. Ideally, I've always got someone I can point them to that's a better fit for what they're trying to do. Just yesterday, I was called by a gentleman, and he had found me just Google searching somebody in Louisville who deals with SEO and Google. And I talked to him for about 10 minutes, and I said, I know exactly what you've got going on, but that's not what I specialize in. I want you to call Amy. This is what she specializes in. Because I could have taken it, and a year ago I would have taken it. But for the quickest, most efficient outcome for him, the most affordable, it made more sense to have Amy do it. Plus, for my own workflows, like the more I can not do things that are outside of what my ideal workflow is, the more efficient I can be, and the better product I can deliver for everybody.
And you're building a positive customer relationship there, even though he's not technically your customer, because now not only does he have a better understanding of what you do, if and when he needs that, there's not going to be a question in his mind that he's going to come to you because he knows you have integrity.
Sure.
And you showed him that instantly, that you have integrity. Yeah. And that goes a long way too. Well,
and always be listening. So when he first called me, I could tell he was kind of at a little wit's end. He said, is it you, or do I have to talk to somebody else? If I have an issue with this. And I said, no, it's me. And he goes, thank God. He said, the last two companies I called, I was put on hold, or I had to talk to so-and-so who wasn't there. And I was like, no, let's.
This is actually only me.
Yeah, I'm the one.
Literally no one else.
I'm the one. Because I had heard that and was listening in the beginning, I said, look, I know Amy's going to answer your call. If she's not available, leave a message. She will call you back. She is the person that you need to fix this. I said, she's very affordable. She knows exactly how to do this very quickly. She's a Google partner. I said, just
tell her I sent you.
I did. And then I texted her and let her know, like, hey,
old dude's calling you.
I'm sending this guy to you. This is kind of what he has going on. That way she already has it's not just a cold out of the blue call. She already has a little bit of affinity for him. He already has a little bit of affinity for her because I have transferred that know, like, and trust that I just built with him over the last 5 minutes over to Amy. And she's going to carry that and provide him an exceptional experience. And now, off to the races.
Yeah. And again, that doesn't mean that guy's never going to be your customer.
It doesn't.
And that's another point I want to make. And I think I might have already said this, but if these people are not your customers, literally or figuratively, do not give any emotional effort into whatever they're hating on you about. If this person is not putting money in your pocket, they don't matter. So one of my mentors, I mean, almost all of the negative feedback that she gets at least I can see as far as like comments and people on like social media and stuff, are literally people that would never be her customer. It's not even like, something has happened and they're not going to be her customer.
It's just people who need to see their own voice on the internet.
Yeah. And it just happened.
Like you suck, guy.
Yes, exactly. And maybe the algorithm had a little glitch in it and this came up in your news feed and you feel like you have to say something. You don't. Opinions are like buttholes. Everybody has them and I don't want to see yours. Okay.
But you want reviews.
I do. I want reviews of people.
You just don't want butthole reviews.
I want reviews. I don't want any buttholes on my business
The more you
page.
say it, the more you're going to manifest it.
My personal page, maybe a little bit.
What
but
the fuck? Oh, boy.
But not on my business page.
This is not a podcast.
That's my point, though. I do want reviews. I
Sure.
want reviews from customers who have purchased my product and have used them, and I want to hear what they have to say about it. And I hope it's positive. I work really hard to try and make it a positive experience for them.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't care what somebody thinks that saw a sweatshirt I made at a festival and was offended by it. I don't, because you're not my customer, literally. And then again, there's the figurative part too of just the trolls in the world.
Sure.
Like, if you're never going to be my customer anyways, it's hard for me to give a fuck.
That should be on a t-shirt. That should be a banner on your booth.
Maybe you've come across this when you've been buying something too, where you'll look at a negative review and you want to see how they responded.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out that person wasn't actually a customer of theirs.
Yep.
That always to me is like, okay, well, I wouldn't pay attention to that as the business owner. So I'm
Right.
definitely not going to pay attention to that as a consumer.
Right.
And just don't do that. If you're one of those people, don't do that. That's so ugly. Like, that's just, that's so ugly because you don't know, like, how much, like, this is this is how I feed my family, too. So, like, we may not be on the same page about things, or you may even be unhappy with something that you paid for and I made it. But, like, don't try and take down my whole business. That's how I feed my family.
Sure.
You have, like you said, you have the right to leave a negative review.
Yeah.
And I will try to do everything I can to make it better. But, like, don't be ugly, people.
Right.
I'm preaching now. I'm going to get back on track.
Preach.
It just makes me mad.
Well, I think we've probably covered a lot of ground here.
Well, before we do wrap up, though, Jay, what's kind of your overall thoughts or, tips or advice for somebody, whether they've encountered it yet or not, for dealing with the negativity?
Well, you said it best. Like, first, reflect on what that is. What's the message there? Is it something that really happened? How can you make it right? How can you learn and train your people to avoid that situation in the future? How can you better position your messaging so that unmet expectations aren't a problem? And that's what I kind of experienced. And then, just leave a very short, very nice, hey, we're really sorry you didn't enjoy your experience working with us. Please contact the office and we'll see what we can do. In many cases, they'll change their review or they'll take it down. If they won't, they won't. But the response to the review, the purpose of that is to tell future visitors how you respond to a challenging situation. Everyone's going to have a mistake. I can tell you this, businesses that have 14,637 5-star reviews, no one believes it. Nobody believes it. It's fake. So to have a couple of negative reviews in there it's okay. It's real. It's how you respond to them. Now, ignoring them that's not good. And honestly, best practices is to respond to every single review. Kind of difficult if you have thousands of them because you're a product based, but if you're a service based company, you should be responding to every review in as specific as you can, so it's actually engaging, because what you're doing is you're future advertising to people who are looking you up and reading about you. So you want to show them how you respond, good and bad.
That's a great point.
Yeah. And then, when it comes to, YouTube or social media hate, whatever, if honestly, I post all of our shorts on YouTube and I hold all comments that are potentially inappropriate. It's settings. I don't know that Facebook and Instagram allow that. I know you can actually turn off comments in most social media cases. And if you are the target of a concerted attack where you're getting a whole lot of negative reviews and, it's from a competitor or somebody who really hates you or ex-boyfriend or whatever, just turn them off. Block and report. And if anybody's coming to your social media and just being a troll and hating, block them and report them. That's all you can do. By arguing with them online, you're just fueling their desire to get that attention. It never works out in your favor. And now I'm kind of sliding back into my private investigator cybersecurity days.
You're making yourself look like the asshole.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and you're also showing anybody else who gets pleasure out of just messing with people online that you're an easy target. So in this week's episode, we talked about how to deal with negativity that comes at your business from the outside, whether that's customers, clients, online haters, trolls, competitors. It doesn't matter. Really, at the end of the day, be who you are, deliver exceptional service, respond to negative feedback, block and ignore trolls, and your life will be a lot less stressful.
I'm Angie at Sandy Pants Customs on Instagram.
And I'm Jay at The Root of Pie.
And we'll see you on next week's episode of More Gooder Ideas.
Bye.
Bye.
Stop.
Thanks for checking out this episode of the More Gooder Podcast. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at More Gooder Ideas, and search us up on Facebook, the More Gooder Ideas Podcast. And don't forget to like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode.